at 261 Rolling Hill Road in Mooresville. Black Powder Coffee.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
All right. Welcome to Heart Mooresville here on WSIC. I'm your host, Don Smyle, and what a wonderfully hot week we have. I'm not saying anything anybody doesn't know out there in Radio Land, but it came very quickly. I'm not entirely unhappy about that because it is summer, but it got hot quick. So with that said, we are welcome our guests today. We have a special announcement too, which I'll let our wonderful co-host Christine get to. But with that said, we are very honored to have two doctors here from Lake Norman Family Medicine who are going to talk to us about all things doctor. We have Bilal Khan and Kyle Babinski. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. So we're going to have some fun today. And Christine, always nice to see your lovely face.
Good morning. Sliding in on two wheels this morning.
Oh my gosh, that's kind of like, I'm going to get a T-shirt made. Sliding in on two wheels.
That's me. I got stuck in traffic in like two different places this morning.
Not in Mooresville or Statesville or not 77.
Not here in our town.
Let's say it isn't so.
No traffic. No, but I'm so excited. I'm so excited I made it and could join in. Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we have a rather big announcement for an event that's happening next week, and I will let you kind of share the details with everybody because I know we're super excited.
Yes, we're going to be on location filming at the Stars and Stripes on Main Parade next week.
So you heard it here first.
That's right.
Heart Mooresville will be broadcasting live from the 4th of July parade on Main Street in Mooresville.
We're taking it on the road. We're taking the show on the road to Main Street, to be specific. Woo!
And our esteemed producer, Bill, will be there to keep us all in line and make sure everything goes off without a hitch. But
that's right.
So basically think like the Macy's Day Parade.
Yeah.
But, you know,
our version
small
of it.
town version. So we'll be there kind of keeping you up to date with everything, and you'll be able to see the parade, and we'll have some special guests talking throughout the event. So it'll be a lot of fun. So we appreciate WSIC being the official streaming partner of Heart Mooresville at the 4th of July parade in downtown Mooresville.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. Yeah, we're super excited. We have, we try to keep it to like a 1 hour parade. So it's from 10 to 11. But this parade is the most high energy, patriotic parade. Lots of dancers, lots of performers. We have like 6 stilt walkers. We have Cinderella in a carriage. I mean, where do you get that? You get it in Mooresville, North Carolina. That's where.
You heard it. You heard it here. And if you don't have swag, then don't worry about it because there is something called the Swaggin' Wagon.
That's right.
Which Christine and her team have dreamed up, and it will run up and down Main Street, throwing out all the wonderful patriotic stuff that you will need to celebrate the 4th of July. So you're in good hands.
Just bring your chairs, show up in red, white, and blue, and we'll do the rest. We will give you all of the American flags and beads and headbands and spinners, all the things you need to celebrate the 4th.
So we're going to have a great time. So we will see you next Thursday from 10 to 11 a.m. for the second annual 4th of July parade in downtown Mooresville. And I've said before that it's ironic that we've never had a 4th of July parade because, let's face it, Mooresville, pretty much small town America.
Right.
You look up small town America in the dictionary, you're going to see Main Street, Mooresville.
Yep, that's right.
And it's on Main Street. I mean, Main Street in downtown small town America.
Yeah.
What's more patriotic than the 4th of July parade?
Yeah, and especially with Mooresville's, support of the veteran community. I mean, Richard's Coffee Shop, also known as Welcome Home Veterans. I feel like Mooresville has done a really great job of supporting our veteran community, and so a 4th of July parade is natural to celebrate that and our nation.
Well, and the great thing is it's just an hour out of your day. You can come, enjoy it, and then head out to the lake, to the cookouts, do everything else you're going to do that day. You won't miss a thing. And
short and sweet.
Short and sweet. So with that said, as I like to do periodically, talk about all the days, months, and weeks that are out there for just about everything. And as I said earlier off camera, I'm pretty sure there's an International Doctor's Day. It's not this week.
Yeah.
We need to figure out when that is so we can give a shout out.
March.
March?
Yeah, see? They know.
Okay.
March.
It's March. All right. So, but this week, there are some things that are happening. World Rainforest Day. Now, We don't have any rainforests in Mooresville, but we do have how many parks?
17 parks.
So there's still the ability to get out and see flora and fauna.
Yeah,
right? So,
absolutely.
And we could use some rain. We won't get any. But
Yeah.
National Family Owned and Operated Business Day.
Oh,
Big shout out to our friends at Brawley Garden.
yeah.
They're a family owned business, been around for a long time.
I think they won an award this year, too.
They did. So, International Asteroid Day.
Oh, I hope we don't get any of those.
I do like to see these shooting stars
Yeah.
or the meteor showers from
I'll
time to time.
Appreciate them from afar.
Yes,
Way,
very,
way
very
far.
And then at the end of the month, it's World Social Media Day. And
Oh.
what a perfect opportunity to shout out all of our social media platforms. So
Yes.
if you would like to follow Mooresville Parks and Recreation and all things that we do, you can do our Facebook or our Instagram page, Mooresville Parks and Recreation.
Yep, and Mooresville Arts and Events.
Yes, shout out to Christine and the Arts and Events team.
Yep.
So what's happening in your world?
Yes, so
You are the Oracle. We all
Mooresville
know.
Oracle. So I know all things happening in Mooresville. Try to keep my finger on the pulse. So I scan the headlines so you don't have to, and I bring you what you need to know.
In a
So-
segment we like to call
In the news. All right, so we were talking about Novant Health last week
We Were.
and the big purchase of the hospital, Lake Norman Regional and Davis Regional. So last week we said, the judge ruled in favor of Novant. It was going to go through the purchase of that.
Denied.
Denied. So this week, not happening. So the $320 million bid to acquire those hospitals has been denied. It ended the bid on Tuesday, citing continued roadblocks from the Federal Trade Commission. The 3-judge panel actually voted 2-1 Tuesday to implement the FTC's preliminary injunction request. Novant had originally signed the agreement in February of 2023 to purchase both Lake Norman Regional and Davis Regional, but they had faced so many regulatory and legal issues with the FTC that they and even having last week have gained that legal victory, but now they're like, no, we're not doing it. Too many issues. So they ended their bid. So Novant said that it will look for other ways to support patients and clinicians in the community. Novant was worried that Davis Regional Hospital was maybe like on its last legs and maybe having to close soon. Also, Lake Norman Regional's future is uncertain, which is why they wanted to move forward with the purchase. But the FTC is saying that if the sale's permitted, that Novant would control an eye-popping 64% of inpatient acute care services for Lake Norman and the North Mech area. So FTC doesn't like that. They feel like it would have a monopoly on the area, and so which would be detrimental for patients. So no more. That will not happen. So we'll have to see what happens with those hospitals in the future. Also, quickly, have you ever heard of Rainbow Kids?
I bet we're about to.
Rainbow Kids is amazing. So this is a camp for children that are experiencing grief. It's ages 6 to 17. It's a 4-day camp. It's Hospice and Palliative Care of Iredell County that puts the camp on. It's pretty amazing. It just happened June 3rd through 13th with 87 children. So it's for children that are grieving the loss of a parent or sibling, and they really just give them skills to cope with that. So it's pretty amazing that we have something like that right here.
Well, that is wonderful. And we will be back shortly here on WSIC to talk to our guests, Bilal Khan and Kyle Babinski from Lake Norman Family Medicine here on WSIC and Heart Mooresville.
Stick around. More Heart Mooresville with host Christine Patterson and Don Smyle is coming up on WSIC. Local starts here.
Oh boy, summer's coming slinging with this heat, and still no relief from the 90s for a while, although it's a little less humid for today, so not quite as sticky, but it's still just plain hot, no matter what you do, if you're going to be outside. Plenty of sunshine today. High temperatures are back in the low to mid-90s. Overnight, partly cloudy and mostly clear skies will dip down to around 70. More mid-90s on the way, and the humidity comes back tomorrow with a low chance of an isolated shower or thunderstorm. That's your forecast. From the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like Greystone Lodge in Boone.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Langtree Live. Get your weekend off to an early start on Thursday night. The Carolinas' premier Beatles tribute band Tangerine Trees covers many well-known songs and a few obscure ones. Event time is 6:30 p.m. with the concert beginning at 7. Bring your chairs to Langtree on Thursday, June 27th for Beatles tribute band Tangerine Trees. Birkdale's Live Under the Oaks concert series continues on Friday. The ultimate 90s experience from Gump Fiction begins at 6 p.m. Kick back and relax on the green in front of the stage at Birkdale Village in Huntersville for the free Gump Fiction show on Friday night. Downtown Statesville welcomes live music this weekend. On Friday, Wine Maestro showcases a performance by Danny Wicker at 7 p.m., while Delaney's Sports Bar presents Bryce Reese at 8 p.m. Visit Downtown Statesville Friday night for live music at Wine Maestro and Delaney's Sports Bar. The Kane Center for the Arts, Week 4 of summer camps begins Monday, July 8th. Morning and afternoon camps for ages 5 to 15 include ceramics, drawing, art, food, painting, and more. The fall performance season begins Saturday, September 7th with a show by comedian Tom Cotter. For more information on the just announced fall performance schedule and summer camp programs, visit canearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. The Cookout Summer Shootout Series revs up summertime at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The 10-race series nights 5 and 6 are on Monday, July 1st and Tuesday, July 2nd. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for tickets, details, and information. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Call now to speak with iHeart Mooresville hosts Christine Patterson and Don Smyle at 844-STUDIO-4. It's iHeart Mooresville on WSIC.
All right, and welcome back to iHeart Mooresville, your small town radio show with a big heart. I'm your host, Christine Patterson, with co-host Don Smyle, and we have two special guests in the studio this morning, Dr. Kyle Babinski and Dr. Bilal Khan. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Morning.
Good morning, and I apologize for not referring to you as doctors earlier. Clearly, you've earned
So
that title,
rude.
so yes.
So rude. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about titles in a few minutes, but before we get into that, so both of you all are with Piedmont HealthCare Lake Norman Family Practice here in Mooresville, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk a little bit about how you got into, why did you want to be a doctor? So we'll start with you, Dr. Babinski. What inspired you to get into medicine?
Well, first, I wanted to say thank you for having me on the show here. But, as I was growing up, I definitely wanted a career that was going to be, very rewarding personally for me. So as I looked into the whole realm of medicine and deeper into it, I definitely enjoyed the puzzle aspect of it. But the thing that I found most rewarding as I was going through shadowing with other physicians and going through my years of training, I think the most important thing to me that stuck out was making long-lasting relationships with my patients. That way, not only was I taking care of them physically, but we also had, emotional connections throughout as well.
Yeah, I love that answer. So thank you. I love hearing, that you would like to build those relationships because I think that's really important, a doctor-patient relationship. And something I saw as I was doing a little research and digging into the Piedmont HealthCare website is that you really take a holistic approach from, physical, mental, emotional well-being. And it's really kind of the whole package because as we know, those are all important factors of health. So I love hearing that. All right. What about you, Dr. Khan? How did you get into medicine?
Yeah, so pretty similar for me. I always was into science, and I still remember being in the 4th grade, and we had this quiz about the skeletal system. I remember doing really well with that, and ever since then I was kind of into science. But for me, when I was about 15, I had some health issues, and so I was seeing a lot of doctors, and that kind of gave me more of an accelerated I could really give back in this way as well.
Sure.
So I think the biggest thing on a day-to-day is you're helping people, and never gets old.
I think it's interesting you talk about, the experience you had as a child and how that influenced you. I've spoken to so many people that have a similar experience in different, careers. How much of an impact an individual or an experience can make on your life moving forward. For me, when I was younger, I won a ton of things off the radio. I used to make a ton of phone calls and win all kinds of things on the radio. I got to know the DJs so well that they invited me to the radio station. And I remember going to the radio station and being fascinated by that and thought, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. I want to be in broadcasting. Life gets in the way and things happen. But many, many years later, I still had that back of my mind, and I ended up going back to broadcasting school. And now radio was the target, but once I got there and experienced television, I was like, oh yeah, I want to be in television. But it is interesting how much of an impact somebody or an experience can have on the longevity of your your career down the road. And those connections that you talk about, they make a big difference in people's lives. One thing that you said, Kyle, which I wanted to talk about, was the shadowing thing, which that happens in a lot of careers, but it's always interesting to me when you go to the doctor's office and you're there, and then they'll say, "Hey, we have so and so from here, and you mind if they come in?" And and you're like, "What do you say?" No, I don't want them in here. And because I know that they're just learning. They're trying to figure out and get where you are. And so the thought of saying no never really comes into my mind. Have you had that experience?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, okay. No,
Yeah.
you're not going to say no.
No, it's a teaching. You have to provide those experiences. I feel like most people are okay with that. So I have to ask another important question. So as I was reading about you all, I think you went to school in Michigan.
Yes.
Right?
I did all of my schooling at Michigan State. So I did my undergrad and my medical school there. So go green, go white.
Okay.
Shout out here to my Michigan State Spartans.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that's a
good.
requirement. And you were in Kansas?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Texas. I
Oh,
went to Texas Tech University for undergrad. And then since medical school, I've kind of been all over the place. So I went to KCU in Kansas City. I did some of my clinical rotations in Florida, Arizona, and then I kind of landed in Charlotte area for residency.
Okay, having been all over the
Nice.
place like that, where's your allegiance in the sports world? Because we know where Kyle is. You've been to some areas with some pretty big representation in collegiate and professional
Yeah.
sports. So where does your loyalty land?
I mean, definitely still Texas. Like, I'm a big Mavericks fan.
Okay.
Texas Tech, guns up. So,
Okay.
And Cowboys? Or Texans?
Sadly, never really got into football too
Okay.
much, but I'll claim the Cowboys.
Okay. Well, so what brought you to Mooresville?
So I did my residency in Concord at Atrium Cabarrus, so
Yeah.
3-year family medicine program. So that's kind of what brought me to this area. And then my wife is actually a veterinarian in Mooresville at
Oh,
Aloha.
nice.
Wow, two doctors in the
Oh,
house.
Yeah.
nice.
So I was already familiar with the area a little bit, so kind of going based off of that. And it was a great community, and that's where I started my search.
I love that. I'm so interested about what brought people here to our community. What about you? How'd you end up in Mooresville?
Yeah, so I spent my entire life in Michigan, and then I was just ready for a change. Wanted to go somewhere where it's sunny.
Better weather.
Exactly. So I'm just like everybody else here, coming down for a little bit of a slower pace of life along with nice weather. So, I took around the map and took note of all the places I had visited prior, and this one seemed like a really great fit for me.
Nice.
It's amazing to me that people would coming from Michigan or other areas would think of Mooresville, how small this community is as a place you would want to live.
Right.
And I've heard that from a lot of other people. So there's something good about Mooresville.
Yeah, we definitely attract people, and we're glad to have 2 more doctors in the town. So love to hear that. Yeah, I think it must be something about that lake life, and all the great people we have here, and the great things to do. They just can't stay away. We're bringing people from everywhere.
And the fact that we have a 4th of July parade. I mean, let's face it.
Oh yeah, and a Vans Brews and Barbecue Festival. That's what brought you here, really, right? The events.
Absolutely.
Of course.
So we were talking a little bit about, where you went to school. So one of the things that also piqued my interest is your credentials. So instead of MD, you're DOs. So I was reading a little bit about that. So that's a doctor of osteopathic medicine. And as I was reading about it, it seems like more and more med students are choosing to do that. It seems like additional training, on top of, kind of learning about the comprehensive medicine, and that you are able to take a more preventative approach and look at it more holistically. So tell me a little bit about that and why you chose to do that instead of, the standard MD. I'll start with
Yeah, so with osteopathic medicine, you're looking more, like you mentioned, a holistic approach, right? So you're looking at, the body itself, then also the mind as well as the spirit. And a lot of the tenets regarding osteopathy relate to you're having, improved structure will lead to improved function. So, I do like the approach that they went through with the school. It's a little bit different from the MD counterparts, whereas for that, it's a little bit more symptomatic treatment.
Gotcha.
But I mean, taking this back to what I mentioned earlier in the show, I mean, I really do think it is important to know your patient on a personal level.
Right.
So between that, combining all of the tenets of osteopathic medicine together, I think is, much better sustainable approach to healthcare.
Nice. Yeah.
Osteopathy. There's the word of the day.
Yes.
Osteopathy.
Osteopathy. I like
What
that
about you,
word.
Dr. Khan?
Yeah.
What was your reasoning for choosing that path?
I think Dr. Babinski definitely nailed kind of the philosophy of osteopathic medicine. It's funny, patients still ask me like, "Oh, what is that DO thing on your jacket right there?" And very very much is just kind of the approach that I felt more was in line with kind of the care that I received when I was a patient, and the kind of doctor that I wanted to be. So, a huge part of being a DO is learning OMM, which is a osteopathic manipulation. So it's kind of similar to chiropractic sort of care that you learn during medical school, along with traditional medical school curriculum. So, usually beyond medical school, you'll need more training to do that actively. But I think just having that hands-on approach during medical school will definitely give a different flavor.
Yeah, I love the preventative, part of it, because I feel like that is so important today, especially. I mean, you see so many people with illnesses that can be prevented with diet, and close monitoring with that. And I'm sure that kind of drives you all crazy too when you see that, and it's like, oh, you could just eat right, or which is not as easy as it said as I eat horribly.
One of the things that kind of resonated with me when you're talking about is the relationships, because you of all people know that you're in the customer service business, right? And that is such an important part of life in general, and we know when we don't get it, right? And it's become almost something that you talk about. It used to be that you expected good customer service, and now, because good customer service is generally the exception, it's the thing that you talk about if you get it, right? And so, but I know from personal experience, there have been physicians, doctors that I've participated with that I didn't go back to because of that, right? It's because of that relationship, and I felt like they actually cared about me. They cared about who I was, what I was about, the things that were important to me, and it is not just a job for doctors or for anybody that's in the customer service business. It really is about those relationships, and making people feel comfortable and wanting them to know that they're heard and understood, which I think is extremely important. So we shout out to all the doctors out there who take that approach, and thank you to both of you for kind of sharing with us, your approach. I think it's important. So obviously we have much more to talk about with Drs. Khan and Dr. Babinski when we get back here on Heart Mooresville, WSIC.
As local as Mooresville. Christine Patterson and Don Smyle host Heart Mooresville on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Oh boy, summer's coming slinging with this heat, and still no relief from the 90s for a while, although it's a little less humid for today, so not quite as sticky, but it's still just plain hot, no matter what you do if you're going to be outside. Plenty of sunshine today. High temperatures are back in the low to mid 90s. Overnight, partly cloudy, mostly clear skies will dip down to around 70. More mid-90s on the way, and the humidity comes back tomorrow with a low chance of an isolated shower or thunderstorm. That's your forecast. From the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Temperatures are heating up, but the prices are cooling down at Randy Marion Ford Lincoln here in Statesville. How about this? Over $8,000 off F-150s. That's the XLT trim, that's the layered trim, that's the platinum trim, that's the limited trim. That is the crew cab, that is the super cab. You name it, Randy Marion Ford. We got it right here in Statesville at a big discount on F-150s. Again, over $8,000 off. Come see us today, I-77, exit 49B.
Here's a WSIC Business Minute with local entrepreneur and host of Local Biz Now, Joe Vagnone.
I've been buying and selling, owning, operating franchises since 1990. There are few franchising trends to be on the lookout. More white-collar employees turned to franchising in the last 2 years, and they're finally willing to open their savings account to do it. E-commerce continues to thrive. Franchising that takes fewer employees to operate with advanced technology to reduce the number of employees. A surprising trend many of us never thought would happen. Private equity firms are now willing to accept franchises when purchasing companies. This is a material shift in a large buyer profile with plenty of cash.
This has been a WSIC Business Minute with Joe Vagnone. Listen for tips on how to improve your business daily on WSIC. News, talk, now.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Microsoft is the latest big tech company that could face a fine by the European Union. Regulators accusing the company of abusing its market power by bundling the Teams video conferencing app to its other business software. Shares of Gap are rising. The apparel retailer was upgraded to buy from hold at TD Cowen, which says the company is in the early innings of a transformation across all 4 of its brands, and that the growth potential for Gap is underappreciated. Tesla is recalling its futuristic new Cybertruck pickup again for the 4th time in the U.S. This time it's fixing problems with trim pieces that can come loose and front windshield wipers that can fail. The new recalls each affect more than 11,000 trucks. Wall Street's indexes splitting it so far today. Dow down almost 0.5%. NASDAQ rising 0.75%. S&P 500 up 1/4. Oil futures pulling back just a bit, losing 0.25% to $81.50 a barrel. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
I Heart Mooresville. Ooh, we should put that on a t-shirt. Sorry, New York. 105.9, 100.7, WSIC. Local starts here.
All right, welcome back to Heart Mooresville on WSIC. I'm your host, Don Smyle, along with Christine Patterson. We appreciate you taking the time to join us today. We have some special guests, Dr. Bilal Khan and Dr. Kyle Babinski from Piedmont HealthCare and Lake Norman Family Medicine. Thank you both again for being here. So I think it might be interesting for people to know what they can expect when they come to see you. So we'll start with you, Dr. Khan. What's the expectation for patients who come to your practice?
Yeah, so Piedmont HealthCare, Lake Norman Family Medicine, our practice that me and Dr. Babinski are both at. Patients can definitely expect a well-oiled machine, staff that's been there for, some over 15, 20 years.
Wow, okay.
Including the office manager. We have, generally same-day availability for appointments. We have, both of us are accepting new patients. We see pediatrics up to end of life.
Nice.
We have a full-service lab, x-ray, so kind of all the works for primary care. And then, we are part of a multi-specialty physician-owned group. So within Mooresville, we have access within our group to multiple specialists, cardiology, pulmonology. So I think that offers a lot for patients.
Now, as a doctor, do you have a specific specialty, or do you basically see everybody? You mentioned, child to end of life. Are you able to see all patients, or do you have, specific things and you have other doctors do specific things?
So I'm board certified in family medicine, so I can see all ages. Within our practice, I see above the age of 2 and above, and really for any condition, any issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Kyle, what about you, Dr. Kyle?
Yeah, same thing for me. Also board certified as well. Me personally, I see ages 5 and above as well. So whether it's an acute visit, needing something same day, or whether it's medication management or preventative health, for at least once a year, we're able to cover all of the bases there.
Nice. And we were talking about relationships, and One of the things that I love about Piedmont Healthcare is that you're structured as physician-owned, community-focused. And so I think with that, we can see that in so many ways. And, one of those things is that, you have these very invested doctors that are invested in their patients. They're invested in the practice. They come out, they show up to events. The community-focused, we see that, and you will really give back and support the community. And you have supported the arts and events programming so much this year. And I think, it's a great opportunity for you all to come out and meet with citizens and, answer questions. And we see you at the vendor booths, and you're going to be on the 4th of July parade float next week. So I think that's really important. It definitely goes back to the building those relationships. So we appreciate that. So what, I always love asking people, like, what is your favorite part of what you do?
The favorite part of what I do is definitely just being able to wake up every single day and feel like I'm not actually going to work.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoy what I do. I enjoy seeing a wide variety of people coming in for a wide variety of conditions. So most of the time, I'm never going to have any day that is the exact same day. So
yeah, I feel like that's when you've made it, right? Is that you wake up and go to work and it doesn't feel like work. Like, that's happiness.
I read something the other day, I think it was on LinkedIn, that said culture is how you feel about Monday morning on Sunday night. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I like that.
And whether you really want to get up and go to work. And I think that's a great analogy. I can only imagine that you do not have a day that is ever the same.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Never.
So tell me about kind of what your day looks like. I mean, you obviously start pretty early, and I'm sure you work pretty late. You see a lot of different patients. So give me a day in the life of Dr. Khan.
So, I mean, most days we do have our standard visits, your physicals, your 6-month follow-ups for patients that you've known for years. But then we do get acute visits. So, patient will come in for something crazy like, oh, I'm bleeding all over, or I just hurt myself.
Yeah.
I just passed out. I'm having chest pain. So it definitely keeps you on your toes because, we're not restricted to one, specialty or one body area. You'll see a patient with diabetes in one room, the next room somebody's fractured something, the next room somebody's passed out. So the variety is definitely
wow.
awesome.
Thinking about that next room, you never quite know what that chart's going to say when you pick it up, right? So it's kind of like a surprise every time.
Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Doctor's office is like that too, apparently.
And what's your favorite part of what you do, Dr. Khan?
I think the most rewarding thing is getting to know patients as people. Usually the first few minutes are not anything about their health conditions, just kind of catching up with them, see what's new, what trips they've taken, what their family's up to. So, and I think that kind of builds that trust and rapport as well.
That's great. And Mooresville residents have an opportunity to see Piedmont Healthcare physicians at many different locations, 47 plus locations, I believe 70 plus locations that you have in the Mooresville area.
Says the woman behind the curtain, yes.
I'm getting a little help here.
Yeah.
Shh, don't tell anybody. I'm cheating. But I actually was really shocked by that number because I did not realize that. I mean, people have options, and so many options in Mooresville, and everywhere. I think it's important, and that's why I think it's so important to bring this information to the community so people can make informed decisions. What do you want out of your physician and out of the practice that you see? And I think Piedmont Healthcare has such great qualities in the fact that the doctors are invested, and that you are so supportive of the community is such a great quality. So speaking of some of those community opportunities that we're going to see coming up, so as we mentioned, Piedmont Healthcare will be on the parade float next week. They will also be at the Bands, Brews, and Barbecue Festival on September 14th. This is a huge event that is the second annual again. So a lot of these events started last year as part of Mooresville's 150th anniversary.
The other word of the day, sesquicentennial.
Sesquicentennial. Say that 3 times fast. Yeah. So Mooresville was really felt like that needed to be celebrated, that we've been here for 150 years and we've come so far, a lot of growth in our community, even in the last 10 years. So we wanted to use that opportunity as a platform to create some annual programming that was, filled a need in Mooresville. We called it planning with a purpose, not just having events to have events, making sure that these events filled a need, and that were what the community wanted. And so that resulted in 4 signature events that we carried over. And so for us, it's really important to see businesses and organizations in our community to be a part of those so we can help tell those stories. It's important that the events are supported from local organizations and businesses. So we thank you so much for being a part of that. And we're looking forward to seeing you all there in September. And the community can talk with you and ask questions, and we'll have that opportunity to learn a little bit more about Piedmont Healthcare.
So, as somebody who's in the Parks and Recreation world in Mooresville, I'm always interested in what people do in our community to have fun, because that's kind of my world, right?
Yeah.
Where our purpose and our tagline is where the fun begins. And so that's kind of our purpose, is to provide opportunities for the community to enjoy themselves. So having come from Michigan and now in Mooresville, what does Dr. Babinski like to do when he's not working?
When I'm not working, I'm definitely keeping my Michigan roots alive with playing ice hockey. So,
Where do you do that?
unfortunately, it's a little bit of a drive down south to
Oh.
Pineville there, but
Okay.
they have a rink there, and there's actually a lot of other Mooresville residents that I've met that do play hockey, and they also make the trips down
amazing.
there as well.
I'm going to make a note because we're doing our master plan right
We
now.
need an
We need
ice
We
hockey.
do.
ice
Yes.
skating, yeah.
We do. I've been saying it since day one.
Oh my gosh. So, our Christmas event, we bring ice skating to the Liberty Park. It's not, it's iceless skating technically, but don't tell
We're trying to do the ice skating thing.
we
It's-
are.
yeah.
We're trying to get a rink that will be up for an entire month so people can ice skate. But I think there's a place in Charlotte too. I know they practice curling. It's like off exit 16, I think. There's somewhere down there too that does it. That's a
So
little
ice
closer.
skating, that's pretty cool.
Interesting.
In the South. It's interesting that like Nashville and some of the other places now have like these professional hockey teams. You would never think of that in the deep South, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of migrated down. So, and what about you, Dr. Khan? What do you like to do when you're not providing extremely great family care?
So we actually have 2 young children, 2.5-year-old and a 6-month-old. So we do actually go to the parks around here a lot, Liberty Park, Hope Park.
Oh,
so
nice.
it's usually just getting all the energy out.
And I assume that's because of the splash pads, right? And kids
Yes,
can
the
run
splash
around.
pads right now, it's so hot. So
Yeah.
and I live pretty close to Liberty Park, so
Yeah. What do you think
Oh.
about Liberty Park, the transition there?
that's really cool. I mean, it's amazing, like what it used to look like, and
Yeah.
we go there all the time.
Yeah, well, a big shout out to our former Parks and Recreation Director, Pam Reedy, and others for kind of leading that effort to get Liberty Park Phase 2 done. I know the community has responded very positively, and Christine's team gets to use that space for all of the
Yes.
wonderful events that she does, including something that's happening right now, the Summer Concert Series.
Yeah, summer concert series, first Friday of every month. And
Ex-
Piedmont at HealthCare is actually a part of that too. They were at the last very well attended Greggy and the Jets show, which was absolutely amazing. And then we'll be there July 12th for Envision. It's going to be a great show.
And what is Envision? What type of music?
It is a mix of like R&B and some of today's. They are amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a very great show.
Well, I don't think there's any yes that's been there that hasn't been amazing. So
No, I would love to bring The Stranger back, which was the Billy Joel tribute. That one is like a favorite.
I mean, let's face it, hanging out on the lawn, right?
Yeah.
Enjoying music and
Breweries.
and that whole atmosphere. It's a
You can't beat
win-win.
it.
It's a win-win. So, all right, we'll be back shortly here on WISC with Heart Mooresville. Thanks for joining us.
There's more Heart Mooresville on the way from 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Oh boy, summer's coming slinging with this heat, and still no relief from the 90s for a while, although it's a little less humid for today, so not quite as sticky, but it's still just plain hot, no matter what you do if you're going to be outside. Plenty of sunshine today. High temperatures are back in the low to mid 90s. Overnight, partly cloudy and mostly clear skies will dip down to around 70. More mid 90s on the way, and the humidity comes back tomorrow with a low chance of an isolated shower or thunderstorm. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Langtree Live gets your weekend off to an early start on Thursday night. The Carolinas' premier Beatles tribute band Tangerine Trees covers many well-known songs and a few obscure ones. Event time is 6:30 p.m. with the concert beginning at 7. Bring your chairs to Langtree on Thursday, June 27th for Beatles tribute band Tangerine Trees. Birkdale's Live Under the Oaks concert series continues on Friday. The ultimate 90s experience from Gump Fiction begins at 6 p.m. Kick back and relax on the green in front of the stage at Birkdale Village in Huntersville for the free Gump Fiction show on Friday night. Downtown Statesville welcomes live music this weekend. On Friday, Wine Maestro showcases a performance by Danny Wicker at 7 p.m., while Delaney's Sports Bar presents Bryce Reese at 8 p.m. Visit Downtown Statesville Friday night for live music at Wine Maestro and Delaney's Sports Bar. The Kane Center for the Arts, Week 4 of summer camps begins Monday, July 8th. Morning and afternoon camps for ages 5 to 15 include ceramics, drawing, art, food, painting, and more. The fall performance season begins Saturday, September 7th with a show by comedian Tom Cotter. For more information on the just announced fall performance schedule and summer camp programs, visit canearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. The Cookout Summer Shootout Series revs up summertime at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The 10-race series nights 5 and 6 are on Monday, July 1st and Tuesday, July 2nd. Visit charlottemotorspeedway.com for tickets, details, and information. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Call now to speak with iHeart Mooresville hosts Christine Patterson and Don Smyle at 844-STUDIO-4. It's iHeart Mooresville on WSIC.
All right, welcome back to iHeart Mooresville. And we have had a great conversation with Dr. Babinski and Dr. Khan of Piedmont HealthCare, Lake Norman Family Practice. Thank you both for joining us today. So where can people find out and reach you if they want to learn more or schedule an appointment?
Yeah, so you can check out our website, piedmonthealthcare.com. Our specific practice, we're at 357 Williamson Road in Mooresville. And our phone number, if you want to schedule a new patient appointment, is 704-664-7328.
Say it again, doctor.
704-664-7328.
All right.
Okay, you
no
heard
excuses,
it.
No excuses.
If you want excellent family care.
If you want to be preventatively poked and prodded,
there you go.
Please call this number and see our wonderful doctors.
Awesome. Thank you both. All right, Don, what's going on in Parks and Recreation?
All right, Christine, I'm so glad you asked. So we have some things going on. Unfortunately, we have some closures, and please don't shoot the messenger. I know it's really hot this time of year.
For a good reason, though.
But we are trying very hard to correct some issues with the with the Liberty Park splash pad. I know that people are very unhappy that the splash pad is not working, and doctor, we're working very hard so that you and your family can go back there.
Tell the kids.
But for the time being, it is closed, and we can certainly update you on our webpage as well as our Facebook page. So visit us at Mooresville Parks and Recreation on our Facebook to stay up to date with that. But we promise it'll be open as soon as humanly possible. Also, the pickleball courts at War Memorial Recreation Center are also closed as we go through a little bit of a renovation there. So we appreciate everybody's patience. We do have some fun programming going on. We have a BTB boot camp, which is 45 minutes of music, movement, and motivation, which happens at the War Memorial Recreation Center on Thursdays from 6 to 6:30 to 7:15 p.m. So check that out. We also have we have spirit healing yoga, which will teach you to flow through each pose using specifically designed breathing techniques. Each class is filled with laughter and encouragement. I actually did yoga for many years, and I will tell you, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I need to go back.
Very relaxing. And this happens at the Selma Burke Recreation Center on Tuesday evenings. So you can learn about that by going to mooresvillerecreation.org and clicking on all of our programming. We also have something in step aerobics. So if you like something a little more upbeat, we have step aerobics also at the Selma Burke Recreation Center, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at various times. So be sure to visit our webpage to learn about that. And Destination Recreation, in case you didn't know, is our mobile recreation unit. Extremely popular. And basically, Stephanie Pino, who runs that program, takes the mobile recreation unit out into the community.
It's fun in a box.
It's fun in a box. I
Yep.
love that. We're going to put that on a t-shirt
Yeah,
too.
right?
And so those events are ongoing throughout the summer. The next event is actually at Nesbitt Park on June 28th from 9 to 11. And Destination Recreation has its own Facebook page. So it has all the events. You can keep up with all the details and all the fun by visiting Destination Recreation on Facebook. What else do we have going on here? With summer, the War Memorial Recreation Center hosts Water X, which is an opportunity to get moving in the pool in fun and challenging ways to stay active and healthy. So again, the War Memorial Recreation Center pool Monday and Wednesday, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m.
I feel like that would be the only way I would do any outdoor exercising right now is in a pool. It's so hot.
Yeah. Well, luckily, you work for Parks and Recreation.
That's right.
And you know where all the water is.
I know all the details because I'm the Oracle. I know all things.
So what's going on in your world, Christine?
Yes, so lots of events. Of course, as I always say, it's summer, it's event season. Lots of things happening when the weather is nice outdoors. So we specifically, my team has a couple exciting events coming up. Celebrity Housewives. So we have a Mooresville Performing Arts Center.
Hide your tables.
Our Mooresville Performing Arts Center is a 1,600 seat auditorium. It's gorgeous. It's state of the art. We are so lucky to have such an asset in Mooresville. And so we try to book, national programming there. Their ticketed shows.
Priscilla
something
Presley
for everything.
was just there last week.
Yes, and that
the
was
Priscilla Presley.
Full house, great show. And she was so kind and spent time talking to people and lots of Elvis fans out there, of course. But Priscilla too. I mean, she did Dallas. There were a lot of shows herself that she has her own claim to fame there. But Celebrity Housewives is our second show on our mini series. So we have two coming, one from the New Jersey edition and then one from the New York show. So that'll be fun. July 27th. Tickets are on sale now at ourtownstage.com. And then
I think that WSIC might be giving away
they are.
tickets.
They're doing a ticket giveaway. So stay tuned to the WSIC Facebook page. That's right. And then the Stars and Stripes on Main Parade, they'll also be doing giveaways for VIP seating. So stay tuned. Make sure you check WSIC Facebook page to find out all about that. But the Stars and Stripes on Main Parade, of course, is July 4th. It's on the 4th at 10 a.m. So join us. Line up your chairs. You can put them out early. And
you're in
get a
Mooresville
seat.
when you show up on Main Street and there are 500 chairs at 6 in the morning.
That's right. That's how you know you're in Mooresville. We love it. People get a good seat.
And don't forget that we, Heart Mooresville, will be broadcasting live from the 4th of July parade.
I'm so excited.
Next
it's gonna
Thursday.
Be so much fun. I love it. And then Rock the Park, of course, July 12th. Envision, you're going to see Piedmont HealthCare at both that event and the July 4th parade. And then July 3rd, the day before the parade, is the Lowe's YMCA Field of Flags.
Oh, yeah. Big event.
So, huge event. So, we're actually, it's nice because we do have some really nice 4th of July celebrations in Mooresville. You can go July 3rd to the Field of Flags event, see fireworks, live music. Of course, they have over 800 American flags displayed. People can purchase a flag in honor of a loved one that died fighting for our country. It's really beautiful. But it's a great way to celebrate, our town, our nation, and then come to the parade on the 4th. So, you have your whole 4th of July celebration planned.
Also, just a reminder, if you have an old American flag that needs to be gracefully retired, you can take it to Richard's Coffee Shop. They will take care of it for you. So certainly, we don't want to throw those away. We want to honor them. So take them to Richard's Coffee Shop, and they will take care of them.
Yes, I know. Around the 4th, people probably do have that need for sure. And then our Mooresville downtown is hopping in July because it's Christmas in July. So you can go and get great deals at all of our businesses downtown, July 25th through 27th. There's some great deals. I will personally be there shopping.
Are you going to have air conditioners on Main Street so it feels like Christmas?
I know. Maybe we'll make it snow
Again?
Yes.
Again.
In Christmas in July. I love it. There's going to be a nice display, photo display in John Franklin Moore Park. So it will feel like Christmas in downtown Mooresville.
And if you haven't seen John Franklin Moore Park recently, big shout out to our friends at Brawley Seed for the amazing displays that they put up there. I think the one right now has a nautical theme.
Yes, it does.
And it's really cool. So
It's gorgeous.
They do a cool job. So.
Yeah, they really do. They do Mums on Main in October too, and so it's really gorgeous. Great photo display. Take the kids out and go for a walk, get some photos,
and then tag us on social media.
Yes. Also, of course, Throttle Thursdays are in full swing right now. They kicked off in May. They go through October. Those are the last Thursday of each month.
And what is that exactly?
That is so hosted by Murdo-Maid. You have alcohol, you have motorcycles, and classic cars.
And they're not combined. You can just purchase a drink and see the other one. But
It's
drink
a great
and drive.
time.
Don't drink and drive.
It's a great time.
Yeah.
And then Langtree Live every Thursday, live music. Guess what this Thursday is? Tangerine Trees Beatles tribute. How awesome is that?
Tangerine trees. Oh, yeah, Dr. Pepper. Okay. Tangerine cheese and marshmallow eyes. Tangerine trees and marshmallow skies.
Yeah,
Correct me?
Maybe.
Okay. I know I'm going to get lit up on social media for this, but I should know this.
It's going to be great, though. Yeah. I love a Beatles tribute. So those are, of course, every Thursday at Langtree. And then I always like to remind people that it is open swim in the summer at Kerrigan Farms. Kerrigan Farms has the beautiful rock quarry. They open it up in the summer on specific days for open swim. And it's just a really cool experience. And then you just go to their website, kerriganfarms.com, to check for those open swim days and make reservations.
And we checked. Normie doesn't live there.
No, there is no Normie, the Lake Norman monster there is no monster in the quarry.
So your kids are good.
Yeah. But Lake Norman is another, that's another thing. I have to update everyone on sightings soon.
Yes.
Of Normie. Maybe next week.
Do you know about Normie?
I've heard.
Okay. Do you know about Normie?
I would like a little more information on that since I do like to swim.
Okay.
Well, Normie has a website.
Yeah. So apparently there's these belief that there is, like Loch Ness, that there is a Lake Norman monster and it's called Normie. And there is actually a webpage dedicated to it with sightings.
It's lakenormanmonster.com.
Yeah.
So you can read all the sightings.
Yeah. So
also Don's favorite place, Wobbly Butt Brewery and Comedy Zone at Victory Lakes.
I love that.
Has weekly comedy on Wednesday evenings. This week's headliner is Brandon Rainwater and Zlata Cass. They are both natives of South Carolina, so we have some locals over at Victory Lanes this week. And then, as always, a reminder about Lake Norman Coffee and Cars. I feel like they're becoming really popular. They're getting good crowds. Fourth Saturday of every month until December. That's at Merino Mills. So you can grab some coffee, and from 8 to 11 a.m., go check out some classic cars.
Yeah, who doesn't like to see classic cars?
Yeah.
I just love the way they sound. I mean, nowadays, sometimes, you'll have a car come by, you don't even hear it, right? It's because it's electric.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, as it goes by, I'm like, I
Well,
don't want to hear that.
You know where we're going to have a lot of classic cars?
Where?
In the parade next week.
Big shout out. Big promo right there.
We're going to have the Spirit of Mooresville car, too.
Oh, that's a classic.
Oh, yeah.
So
lots of great cars.
Well, just another shout out to our esteemed guests, Dr. Bilal Khan and Dr. Babinski from Piedmont HealthCare Lake Norman Family Practice. We appreciate both of you being here and sharing your insights. And we will obviously be back next week. And don't forget, next Thursday, join us as we live broadcast from the 4th of July parade here on iHeart Mooresville and WSIC. Have a great week.
Serving you better than ever before. 105.9, 100.7. WSIC, Statesville, Mooresville.